Hey you. Hey you. Are you from the future? That's great. I'm from the now, and now we're gonna get it started. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Magical Serialism, your daily sonic sampling of the strange wind that blows upon our luck, insights, reflections, and a song even I have not yet heard. We're going to shuffle these cards, we're going to draw 4 chords, make them into a song, and act like it means something, because it does. Here we go. Strictly with the piano today. It's not a lightning round, but give those cards a cut. And that's where we are. I just didn't have the capacity to haul my gear home, so we're piano only today, whatever funny sounds it can make. And let's see what our first card is. Whoa. All right, it's the Unidonkey starting us out today. The gonzo leader of the chord no one uses, the 7 chord, B diminished in this case. Ooh. It's a good one, huh? So it starts with a little suspense, but it resolves in the best way it can. And I gotta say, it's a pretty good resolution. Oh, even better, we're gonna keep the B from that B diminished and turn this C major chord, the Mayor, into the Mayor on the Fairy Moon. Even more jazzy, even more pleasing. We're gonna hop right up another whole step to the Trickster. D minor. And we're gonna have a little bit more going on with D minor, a non-root bass note. That means we're gonna pick a note that is from the D minor chord, but it's not going to be D, so we need an F or an A, so I'm just going to search the white keys here. F it is! D minor over F. Delicious, wonderful, satisfying. Oh, and then back to the Mayor. There's a simplicity to this so far. Another Mayor. Double strong, double sweet, which means we're not done with the draw. But now we are. The twins would be a 5th valid chord card, and that is where we draw the line. You know, we could draw 100 chords, but it'd get a little old, you know? This is what we've got today. And like I said, a kind of a simplicity to it. Oops. There we go. So, if I'm not No, I don't know what I was going to say. This one being quite so simple makes it a good candidate for some more creativity. D minor over F, which is really going to sound like an F6. And then C. So we've got our 7 chord, our 1 with that major 7, our 2, 6. That's figured bass, not a 6 chord, although it will sound like an F6, but that'd be a 4/6. But in this case, this means it's in first inversion. And that is really it. Earlier I said this had a simplicity to it, and it does. Aside from the Trickster's little move here, this is a lot like the kind of songs that you find when you just go looking, when you know what a chord is, and you try things like that. This is the Unidonkeys doing. This 7 chord is a little bit atrocious on the ears. There are certainly many places for it, but we just don't hear it that often in popular music. And then it resolves to this jazziness, like it keeps this B from the B diminished chord. And that makes this a really smooth, fluffy chord, this C major 7. And so immediately we become a little more sophisticated than it initially started. If we removed these things, this kind of would just be those 4 chords at their simplest. And I do see this a lot with kids who are writing songs. It's right there. When I was growing up, I wrote, what did I write? Oh no. Yeah. It's just right there, and it has so much tension that it pushes you back home to C. And I'm going off about this because I think it's an important metaphor for sort of the broad strokes thinking of the misunderstander. The broad strokes thinking of the misunderstander. And what I mean by that is when you don't understand how a complex system works, like harmony, and that, I don't say that to be elitist, but if you just know nothing about it, you tend to end up dealing with kind of the first level of harmony, which is that there seems to be a here and an away. And those are really the two forces. And this is at the other end of the spectrum too. Once you know everything, you see that there's really just two things. There's here and there's away. And this speaks to the wisdom that does bestow itself upon beginners, non-experts, folks who are following their intuition. They're right, but they often don't know why. And then what happens is you end up finding the closest away from the home you started with, and that tends to be this one or this one. And while there are plenty of songs that are just two chords bouncing back and forth like that, They are choosing to kind of be simple, whereas when someone doesn't have the capacity to make something more complex, they tend to be doing the simple thing because it's the first thing they found. And when you look at a system that's as complex as a government of 330 million people, it's easy to say, oh man, I just wish someone would come in there with a chainsaw and cut out all the corruption. And it feels really satisfying to think about it that way. But when you get in the trenches, when you're really starting to cut programs and make big sweeping changes to something as complex as a government, all of the complexities come in to kind of ruin your plans. Or your plans come to fruition, but what happens in the meantime is this ugly presence, this huge tension of the destruction of lives that comes with taking a hacksaw or a chainsaw to a government. Democracy is one of the strongest things, and it's also one of the most fragile things. It's like a secret experimental laser satellite. It's so powerful. It has the ability to destroy whole cities. But if a 2-pound rock hits it, that satellite's going down. It's in the right place, so it's fragile, but it's powerful. And that's how democracy is. If you know which spot to hit, you can knock it over. And if you don't know what you're doing, or you're acting like you don't know what you're doing, you're just throwing 3-pound rocks at the satellite of American democracy. And I guess this goes out to the people who yearn so for reform that they're willing to suffer this destructive force carving through everything, throwing out so many babies with so much bathwater. And for those of us outside that movement, witnessing all of the babies being thrown out and wondering, where is the bathwater? This world has these tense moments for people who are looking for that proof that this total revamping of government is worthwhile, looking for the proof that it's worthwhile. It feels like this chord, because the proof doesn't seem like it's out there. Complex systems require careful surgery. But we don't have a surgeon right now. And I think that's what our story is about. This is sort of a washing machine thing going on, where we're starting with this tension, this twisting, smashing, chemical smearing tension. But then for a moment, the parts of the tension that have stuck around are the beautiful parts. And then we kind of get fooled. The trickster, D minor over F. It sounds a lot like the angel, F, which is kind of the home away from home. If we were here, that would feel like sort of a healthy healing. And instead it feels like the ultimate trick of the trickster. There's an elegance to the plaintiveness of this D minor over F chord that I'm hanging out on. And then we come back to C, but even stronger. And then we're back in the what is this nightmare? Hope strikes us. And then reality reaches out. And we remember that we're stronger than we even think now. Because however fragile democracy is, the people have endless power. So let's come up with a name for this. And maybe our story is the unidonkey. I always start these with the unidonkey walks into a bar. The unidonkey, the chaos of the moment, the gonzo-ness. It leads. It's out in front every day. But if we find the peaceful meditation of the mayor on the fairy moon, we have this moment of peace. And then there's, oh man, it's hard to peg this trickster over the root of the angel. That's what this F is, D minor over F. I can't tell if it breaks my heart or fills my soul. We were right here. But I know when we return to the mayor, double strong, double sweet, it feels even more satisfying. And so this is looking toward the future. There are so many in-between moments between what's happening and what's coming. And if this is what's coming, good news is on the way. Summer is on the way. And so I think a good name for this one I want to say something calm. Let me keep listening. The mayor is patiently waiting to come back to us every time we leave. The mayor in this case representing proper, bright governance. That very home of homesness. Man, I wonder if you can hear that. Thanks, Equinox. Can you hear my dog barking in the background? He usually stops after a second. And, oh man, I was almost there. The time is not yet the time to strike. Because when something big happens, something really big is going to happen in the other direction. And when it does, we are going to have to rely on the unity of the people. And as this pancake flips over, we are seeing more and more people get directly affected by the problems. Oh yeah, it adds a special element. And some folks just, they're not strong enough to care about something unless it hits them, unless it hurts them. They just don't have the strength. And we can't wish they did. And we can't say, oh, well, they don't have that kind of strength, so they're stupid. What we can do is use whatever wisdom we have to look to the future and make our own plans. We have to live with this tension right now. But if we jump out now and say, no, this is all stopping, it'll be really easy to just say, look at these. It's not enough people to represent a mandate. And they'll just kidnap and execute everyone they can, cut down our numbers. So we can't afford to fire the first shot. Maybe not even at all. But at very least, and I'm being metaphorical here, not until we see the whites of their eyes. Because the longer we can hold off and live in this tension and fix what we can around us, the more people are going to be affected by what's going on and come around and wake up. So there's a slow majesty energies coming out on the other side of this. However dark it gets. And there'll be all sorts of peaceful moments in between. And some, I don't know if this is peaceful moments. Maybe it's inspiring. Maybe it's deadly. But it has an ending. And some of us are there, enjoying the patient future. This trickster chord even more. And this characterizes what a lot of days have been like since January 20th. Seeing the beauty of the world and knowing the condition of it, knowing where it's headed. There's kind of a few different ways to look at the future. As a staircase, a long staircase, and Dr. Martin Luther King said, don't bother staring at the height of the staircase all day. I'm paraphrasing. Look down. You see that step right in front of you? Take that step. And before you know it, you'll be further along than you think. And I think he's right. I think he's even taking that from somewhere. But that's where I heard it first. But I think there's another way to look at it too. When you're looking at a staircase that's got all sorts of crumbling problems, and you've got to take these steps, maybe they're covered in spikes and you're in bare feet or something. And that's the time when, yeah, you want to look at the step in front of you so that you don't hurt yourself, but you want to remember what's at the top of that staircase. You want to remember what we're heading for. Because the only thing that would get me to walk through fire is something on the other side that matters. There's something on the other side of this that matters more than anything. Life. With wisdom. And maybe it takes a couple years. Maybe it takes 100 years. But life has been waiting billions of years to do what it's doing here. And here we are. Can you imagine being the first single-celled organism some whatever billions of years ago? And looking up at that staircase. That must have been overwhelming. It's a good thing we didn't have brains when we were single-celled organisms. And as humanity has found its way out, We bring that promise of life with wisdom into a bright new day. Over and over again. And honestly, a lot of it can't get much brighter than it is now. But a lot of it could get a lot darker for a little while. For a lot of people, it already is. This song is so nice until we get back to the beginning where it all started. And it just kind of hits you, pulls you out of that sweet grace that happens here. This resolution. So live in these last 3 chords today. Live in our patient future. When our enthralling present is too painful. Look ahead and know that we've dealt with worse. And we'll do it even better this time. Thanks for coming along with me. I'll see you tomorrow for a lightning round. And then I may not be in on Saturday at all. I've got to leave the house really, really early. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll wake up really, really early. Peace be with you.